Hello class, this is Brittany O'Neill, the Liberal Studies and Technology Librarian, and I'm going to go over some of the different types of sources that are out there and where you can find them. So why is this so important? First and foremost, when you're working on a research paper, you need to show how your ideas relate to others, so you need to have some great information to back it up. Of course, using the right types of sources gives your paper credibility, so if you use reliable and scholarly resources, you can borrow the authority of the author. Finally, it allows you to think critically about your research when you are evaluating the different types of sources that are out there. There are three different types of sources available: popular, reliable, and scholarly. And I'm going to go over in more detail what each of these mean. First on the list are popular sources. These are not written or reviewed by experts, although there may be an editor involved. They may or may not have an author. They usually don't have sources, or they use poor quality sources. They may have advertising. They're usually fairly short. They're written for the average reader to understand. Ultimately, their purpose is to entertain. So I have a couple of examples here. People Magazine and BuzzFeed, great for light reading, but not great for research. I also include Wikipedia in this, even though it has sources. They're not exactly vetted sources. It can be a great launching point for research, but should never be a resource that you use on its own. Reliable sources are sort of the Goldilocks. They're not scholarly, they're not popular, they're somewhere in between. The author has some credentials listed. It has sources that are cited. It is written for a little more educated reader to understand. It has little to no advertising. The length can vary, but ultimately its purpose is to inform. These are usually published in reputable publications. Time Magazine is a great example of one. Usually newspapers like the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal are great, reliable sources of information. I include the Pew Research Center, which is an awesome source for statistics, and things like the National Archives and other government resources, great information even if it's not scholarly. And finally, we have scholarly resources, which are sort of the gold standard of research. These are written by an expert in the field with credentials. They're reviewed by a panel of experts, which is what we mean when we say that they're peer-reviewed. They include an abstract, which is the summary of the article at the top of the page. They have multiple cited references and footnotes and a reference page so you can check their sources. It's written for other professionals in the field to understand. It does not include any advertising, and they're usually fairly long. The purpose is to educate in this case. So where can you find these? Popular sources can be found anywhere on the web. Google is a great place to start. Just throw in some keywords. You can also use Wikipedia in a smart way by going through its references and evaluating those as potential sources. Reliable and scholarly sources can be found both on the web and through the library. On the library's homepage, there is a Find a Journal button where you can search for a specific journal. You also have a course guide, and the link is here, and that has specific databases, journals, and other resources that are catered to your assignment. Google Scholar is also out there, although I don't always recommend it as you may not have access to everything in there. Ultimately, whatever you choose, evaluate your sources. Like I said, make sure that you ask for help. We have a 15-minute rule here in the library, so if you are stuck searching for something for more than 15 minutes, stop and ask for help. My contact information is there, and as always, you can use the Ask a Librarian widget on the library homepage. But I hope that this helps, and good luck with your assignment.